You're 40,000 years ago, on open ground, and the sun just dropped below the horizon with no cave in sight, no walls, no overhang. Nothing between you and whatever's out there but darkness and open air. You can hear something moving in the grass about 30 meters out. You can't see it. Your eyes are useless right now. Human night vision is genuinely bad, worse than almost every predator that's ever hunted you. A hyena can see you clearly. You can barely make out its shape. So what do you actually do? You don't run. Running in the dark on unfamiliar ground is how people break an ankle and become easy meat. The first move isn't physical at all. It's picking the spot, high ground if you can find it, so nothing can come at you from above. You're back against something solid, a boulder, a fallen tree, anything a predator can't get behind, and clear sightlines in every direction you can manage because the one thing worse than seeing a threat is not seeing it until it's already close. Then fire. Always fire if there's any way to get one going. A burning fire creates a rough 30-foot radius that most large predators simply won't cross. Not because they're afraid of the flame itself, because for hundreds of thousands of years, fire has meant humans, and humans mean danger. That association runs deep in the animals that used to hunt us. It's why anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer camps have documented something striking. People who wander outside the firelight at night are measurably more likely to be attacked, even now, even with modern weapons nearby. Without fire, the calculation changes completely. You climb. This sounds almost too simple, but it's one of the oldest survival responses your species has. Get above the ground-level predators. A low, sturdy tree branch, a rock ledge. Anything that puts vertical distance between you and a set of jaws that can't climb as well as you can. Chimpanzees still build sleeping nests in trees every single night for exactly this reason. Some researchers argue our own ancestors did the same thing for a very long time before anyone ever slept on open ground by choice. Say you're in a group, now what? Nobody sleeps at the same time. That's not a guess, it's one of the most consistent patterns anthropologists have found studying groups like the Hadza in Tanzania, one of the last populations still living something close to this lifestyle without agriculture or permanent shelter. Someone is awake at almost every point across the night, not because of a schedule anyone assigns, but because different people's sleep naturally staggers. One person's restless 2 a.m. wake-up is another person's deepest sleep. Stack enough people together, and the group is watched almost continuously without anyone officially pulling a shift. That's not an accident of biology. It might be the reason that biology exists at all. Now think about what's actually out there in that darkness with you. Lions and hyenas are the obvious ones. Pack hunters, patient, willing to test a group's edges in the dark the way they wouldn't dare in daylight. But the animal that should worry you more is smaller. Leopards. A leopard doesn't need to test your group. It needs one person 20 feet from the fire, half asleep, alone for 30 seconds. Leopard kill sites with ancient hominin remains have been found across parts of Africa. Not proof of every night's danger, but proof the danger was real often enough to leave bones behind. So the real threat isn't the big showdown. It's the gap, the one person who wanders off. The one moment nobody's actually watching, which is why the sleeping arrangement itself becomes a kind of architecture. The most vulnerable people, children, the injured, anyone who can't fight or run, go in the center. The strongest, most alert adults take the edges closest to the dark, not assigned in any formal sense. It just happens the way it happens in almost every social mammal that sleeps in groups, because the individuals on the outside are accepting real risk on behalf of everyone inside it. There's a theory that this arrangement is one reason group size mattered so much for early humans. A group of 3 can't cover its own perimeter. A group of 25 can post watchers on every side and still let most people actually rest. Below a certain number, night stops being survivable at all without fire, and walls doing all the work alone. Not every researcher agrees on how much of this was deliberate strategy versus simple habit passed down without anyone consciously designing it. Some argue early humans were making calculated, almost tactical decisions about terrain and watch rotations. Others think it was closer to instinct sharpened by generations of the people who didn't do these things simply not surviving to pass anything down at all. Most researchers land somewhere in between, instinct providing the raw material, and experience sharpening it into something that looked, from the outside, a lot like a plan. Either way, the pattern shows up again and again in the archaeological and ethnographic record. Elevated or defensible ground, backs to something solid, fire when possible, staggered wakefulness when it isn't. And the most vulnerable people always positioned furthest from the edge. Morning changes everything, and not gradually. The moment the sky starts to lighten, human vision stops being the disadvantage it was for the last several hours. Predators that owned the darkness lose most of their edge in daylight. That's not a coincidence either. It's very possibly why humans became active in daytime in the first place, while so many of the animals hunting us stayed nocturnal. So the night isn't something ancient humans simply endured until the sun did the work for them. It's something they engineered around every single time, with whatever ground, whatever fire, and whatever people they happened to have with them, because the alternative wasn't a bad night's sleep. It was not waking up at all.